20%. That is the IRR every note marketplace dangles in front of operators in 2026. 20% on distressed paper. No tenants. No city inspectors. Just you, the borrower, and the contract. And almost nobody at my Bigger Pockets meetup is actually buying notes. I spent 30 hours on this. Forms, court records, platform fine print, 2 phone calls with attorneys in different states, 3 conversations with active note operators. There is real alpha here. There is also a quiet trap that costs operators 18 months and $12,000 on a single deal. The 4-word phrase in the middle of this video is the one you need to hear before you wire a single dollar to a note marketplace. First, Dan's whiteboard. Dan has $153,700 sitting in a money market account from a cash-out refinance last year. He flipped a house in 2023. He is holding a second one as a long-term rental. He is tired of toilets. He is tired of the 4 a.m. call about a busted water heater. He doesn't want a third roof. He wants paper. He pictures himself sipping coffee on a Tuesday morning, opening a servicer dashboard, and watching interest land. So he asked the question every operator with capital eventually asks: should I buy notes? Or shouldn't I? This is educational only, not legal advice, not financial advice. Real estate laws vary by state. Always talk to your attorney before buying paper. Now, let's get into what the data actually says. There are 3 flavors of notes. You need to know all 3 before anyone pitches you anything. First flavor, the performing note. A borrower who pays on time every month. You buy at a small discount. You collect the interest. Jake Finance Group's 2026 market analysis puts the average IRR on first lien residential performing paper at 9.2 to 9.5%. Paperstac, one of the main note marketplaces, advertises 8 to 12%. That is the buy-side number. Not net of servicer fees, not net of legal, not net of taxes. Hold that thought. Second flavor, re-performing notes, RPLs. A borrower who missed payments, was modified, and is paying again. 12 months of clean history. Yields jumped to 13 to 15% because someone else carried the workout risk and you stepped in after the fix. Third flavor, non-performing notes, NPNs. The borrower stopped paying. You buy the contract for 55 to 65 cents on the dollar. Your job is to either get the borrower paying again, negotiate a deed in lieu, or foreclose. Jake Finance estimates 20% plus IRR on a successful workout. That is where the real alpha lives. That is also where the trap lives. Hold that 20% number. Why is the headline so different from what active operators report? Because the gross IRR is not what hits your bank account. The next 60 seconds is the after-tax math nobody runs. Imagine Dan buys a non-performing first lien in New York. New York is a judicial foreclosure state. The workout drags 18 months. He pays $12,000 in attorney fees. He pays a third-party servicer the whole time. His 20% gross collapses to something around 11 to 13 net. That is still a fine number. It is not a passive number, not even close. The 4-word phrase you need is coming up. Now the tax conversation. Every dollar of interest income from a note is taxed at your ordinary rate, up to 37% federal. There is no depreciation. There is no tax-deferred exchange path on monthly note payments. There is no qualified business income deduction in most note structures. So a 9% performing note, in a 35% bracket, after taxes, pays you about 5.7 to 5.9%. Compare that to a Midwest cash flow rental purchased correctly. Same 9% on paper, but cost segregation accelerates depreciation and shelters most of that income. The after-tax spread can flip the comparison entirely. This is the math high earners almost never run. Run it. Then decide. What do you actually need before you buy your first note? 3 things. Non-negotiable. First, A minimum buy of $50,000 on a first lien residential note with real LTV headroom. Anything cheaper is either second lien, or a property in a liquidation market where your foreclosure exit is slow and uncertain. Paperstac shows entry partial notes from $20,000. Skip those for your first deal. Operator paper starts at $50,000. Second, a real estate attorney on retainer who knows your state's foreclosure timeline. Texas. Non-judicial, 90 to 120 days. New York, judicial, 12 to 36 months. The attorney is not a nice to have. The attorney is the deal. Expect a flat fee of $2,500 to $4,500 per uncontested non-judicial foreclosure. Expect $6,000 to $12,000 for a judicial state with borrower contest. Get that quote before you make an offer on the note. Third, a licensed third-party loan servicer. You do not collect payments yourself. You do not send default notices yourself. The Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act say so. If you self-service, you are operating outside compliance. Full stop. Servicer fees run roughly $15 to $30 per loan per month for performing paper. Workout fees can stack on top. That is the operator stack. Without all three, you do not buy notes. You buy a Midwest rental. Now the four-word phrase. Write it down. The 65-cent workout. This is the operator move that creates the real alpha in this asset class. Without it, you are just buying yield. With it, you are buying a controlled discount. Yield without discount is a wage. Discount with collateral is a position. Operators want positions. Wages are what landlords get when they buy at retail. Positions are what bankers get when they buy at wholesale. Note, investing lets you cross to the banker's side of the table, but only if you bought the contract correctly in the first place. Here is exactly how it works. You buy a non-performing first lien residential note with at least 20% equity in the underlying property. You pay 60 cents on the dollar, so a $100,000 contract cost you $60,000. Then your servicer reaches out to the borrower with a workout offer, loan modification, lower rate, stretched term, catch-up plan. About half the time it works. The borrower keeps the house, starts paying again. 12 months later, that note is reperforming. You can sell it back to the secondary market at 85 to 90 cents. That is a $25,000 gain on a $60,000 position, roughly 40%, in about 18 months, hedged. Your numbers will vary. The other half of the time, the workout fails. The borrower will not engage. What happens then? Your attorney files. The collateral covers you because you bought at 60 cents under 75% LTV. You take the deed, you sell the house. You recover principal plus interest plus most of the attorney fees. Either path, you make money, as long as you bought correctly. That is the 65-cent workout. That is the entire game. What does Dan's first call to the servicer actually sound like? Short, direct. 3 questions. Question 1. What is your fee schedule for performing paper, and how does it change when a borrower goes 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late? Question 2. What is your default notice procedure, and is it Fair Debt Collection Practices Act compliant in writing? Question 3. What is your monthly statement template, and can I see a redacted sample from a current client? If the servicer cannot answer all 3 on a 15-minute call, you have the wrong servicer. Move on. But you can buy correctly and still lose. 3 borrower events kill performing notes faster than any mechanism. None of them are predictable at origination. Divorce, job loss, major medical. Each one drains the cash flow that pays you. Mitigation. Buy at no higher than 70 to 75% LTV, so the foreclosure exit covers principal. Require hazard insurance with you named as additional insured. Verify the property sits in a liquid resale market, not rural acreage, not a specialty cabin, not a teardown. A normal 3-bedroom in a county with normal absorption. if the collateral is anything else. Your foreclosure exit is slow and uncertain. Pass. 2 paths to access this asset class. Pick the one that matches your operator stack. First path. Marketplaces. Paperstac. Notes. Direct. You buy individual notes. You hold the perfected assignment yourself. You pick your servicer, you control the workout. This is the operator path. The trade-off is concentration. Each note is its own small business. Second path. Funds. Yieldstreet targets 8 to 20% gross net of fees, 0 to 2.5%. Fundrise's income objective portfolio currently advertises 7.94% annualized as of 2026. Funds are diversified. They are passive. Most have lockups of 3 to 7 years. Read the operating agreement before you wire $1. If the note is held in the platform's name and the platform fails, you are an unsecured creditor of the platform, not a secured creditor of the borrower. That sentence is the fine print most investors miss. Confirm you receive a perfected assignment of the note and mortgage, not just a participation interest in a fund vehicle. Big difference. Now the cumulative picture. 3 notes to start. $153,700. 5 years. Here is how the math actually compounds when you buy correctly, and what it looks like when you do not. Operator Dan deploys over 12 months. 2 performing first liens at $50,000 each, averaging 9.3%. 1 non-performing note at 60 cents on a $100,000 face, worked through the 65-cent workout. Cash reserve held back for legal and servicer overhead. Year 1 cash yield. About $9,500 on the performers. The NPN is an active workout. No realized gain yet. Year 2. The NPN reperforms. 12 months of clean payments. Sold back to the marketplace at 87 cents. Realized gain about $22,000. The performers keep humming. Year 3. Dan redeploys the proceeds plus accumulated cash flow into a second NPN at 62 cents. The first NPN is paid off via borrower refinance. Year 4 and 5. Dan compounded the proceeds back into the portfolio at lower entry prices because rates were elevated. Bought 2 more discounted performers. Sold 1 at par when rates eased. 5-year cumulative net of costs and taxes. Estimated about 28 to 34% on his deployed capital. Hedged. Your numbers will vary. That is paper. That is the operator path. That is what happens when you buy correctly. Now the part the gurus skip. You should not buy notes if any of the following are true. You do not have a real estate attorney on retainer. You do not have a licensed third-party servicer relationship. You are in a 35% plus tax bracket with no offsetting depreciation. You need this money in less than 3 years. You expect this to be passive income. Notes are not passive. Notes are a small, specialized business. The moment a borrower misses a payment, you are running a workout. If any of those 5 red flags apply to you, the math will not work for you. Take the same money. Buy a well-bought rental in a Midwest cash flow market. Layer cost segregation. Sleep at night. Here is the Bigger Pockets Forum sanity check. Active operator threads as of February 2026. Performing residential paper hitting sub 9% yields in many markets. Buyers tightening their buy boxes. Active operators reporting 10 to 20% of their portfolio in some stage of delinquency or workout at any given time. That is substantially above the headline 1.4% default figure that gets quoted in marketing decks. The 1.4% applies only to highly seasoned first lien paper bought conservatively with 20% plus equity cushion. The operator reality is messier. Plan for it. Here is what your next 90 days should look like. 5 steps. All of them before you wire $1. 1. Read Jaikin Finance Group's 2026 Mortgage Note Performance Report. Free. Public. 2 evenings of careful reading. 2. Open a free Paperstac account and study the buy box for a week. Do not buy. Just read. Watch which notes sell. Watch which sit. Pattern recognition is the first edge. 3. Call 2 real estate attorneys in your state and ask each one for a flat fee on a non-performing note workout. Compare. Pick one. Get them on retainer. 4. Find a third-party servicer. Ask for their fee schedule and a sample monthly statement. Look for transparent reporting and clean default notice procedures. 5. Sit with your CPA and run the after-tax math against a Midwest rental with cost segregation. Then decide. Run the actual numbers, not the thumbnail numbers. Note investing is real. It is narrow. It is slow. It is legally intensive. For the right operator with the right stack. It is one of the cleanest assets in real estate. No toilets, no tenants, no city inspectors. Predictable cash flow when performing, controlled upside when working out. For everyone else, it is a slow-motion trap. Pick your side honestly, then act on it. Dan already did. He bought one performing first lien this quarter, $50,000. He is sleeping on the next one until he watches that one for 6 months. 6 months is the cutoff. 3 missed payments inside 6 months is the early warning that a so-called performing note was not as seasoned as the seller claimed. That is the operator move. Slow. Deliberate. Compound. 3 things every 20% thumbnail forgets to mention. Tax drag. Servicer dependency. State variance. Add them to your underwriting before you ever click buy. Drop your state in the comments. I want to know if you're in a judicial foreclosure state or a non-judicial one. That changes your whole exit math. If you are in Texas, Georgia, or California, you are operating in a non-judicial state, and your workout timeline is 90 to 120 days. If you are in New York, New Jersey, Florida, or Illinois, you are looking at 12 to 36 months. Which side of that line are you on? That number alone decides whether note investing pencils for you. Next week, I am breaking down DSCR loans on small multifamily. Different mechanism, same operator mindset. The math is going to surprise you. And the trap is even quieter than this one. See you then.